The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius says, "I know that life is worth one thing, our constant battle against our weak feelings and destructive desires. Each of us lives an internal battle, a battle that puts us face to face with our whims and desires, those inner voices that invite us to rest, to indulge, and to surrender slaves to these voices, or are we masters over ourselves? Do we give in to our feelings or control them?" These are the questions that were guiding the Roman philosopher Marcus Aurelius at every step of his life. In this video, we will explore how sophistication, a philosophy that has proven itself through the ages, can become your greatest weapon in your inner battle. We will address 10 tips from the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius on building self-discipline, which is the main weapon in facing life and overcoming its difficulties. If you find this video useful, do not forget to like it and share it with others who may not be without it. Subscribe to our channel to follow more inspiring content and share your thoughts and experiences in the comments section now. Let's start discovering how to make a positive change in our lives from the moment we wake up. Self-discipline starts with finding your purpose. If you look at the lives of those who have achieved great things, there is a common thread. They all knew exactly what they were striving for. Purpose is not just a vague idea or a fleeting desire. It is that force that drives you to wake up every morning with enthusiasm, that flame that lights your way through storms and difficulties. When we talk about self-discipline, we can't separate it from a goal. How can you impose discipline on yourself without knowing why? Without being driven by something bigger than yourself? Purpose is the compass that guides all your actions and decisions. Without it, life becomes just a series of random events, the waves of life tossing you from place to place with no destination. But let's dig deeper. Finding purpose isn't just identifying a job or a physical accomplishment. It's figuring out what makes you feel like your life is worth living. Your purpose may be to serve others, to master a particular art, or even to achieve inner happiness and serenity. What's important is that this goal comes from deep within your soul, not just an idea that others have planted in you. Self-discipline is not something you force upon yourself. It is the natural result of a deep connection to your purpose. When you find that goal, discipline becomes a part of you. Every obstacle becomes just a step toward realizing that goal. Momentary desires and distractions become less important because you are oriented towards something bigger and greater. Marcus Aurelius says, "Every morning I wake up with the thought, what goal am I working towards today?" This is not just advice, it's a way of life. If you want to achieve self-discipline, start by finding your purpose. Make that goal clear in your mind and let every action you take be a step toward achieving it. With each step you take towards your goal, you will feel an increase in your inner strength. You'll feel good about yourself and start seeing the results you've always dreamed of. But remember, a goal is not the end of the road, it's the beginning. It's the motivation that will move you forward even when the road is dark and arduous. In this video, we continue to explore how to build this self-discipline and how it can lead you to a life full of meaning and fulfillment. Stay tuned and discover how you can become the master of your life. To be present every day. Life flows like a river, but we often drown in thoughts, either drowning in past regrets or worrying about the future. How often do you find yourself preoccupied with what's going to happen tomorrow or what happened yesterday? You may feel like time is slipping through your fingers and you're missing the present moment. But if there's one thing we can be sure of, it's the moment we're in right now. Stoic philosophy teaches us to be present in every moment, to live life to the fullest, to be conscious and aware of what is happening around us. Presence is not just a physical presence, it is a mental and spiritual presence. To feel every detail of your day, to savor the taste of your morning coffee, to listen attentively to someone's conversation, to be aware of your thoughts and feelings without rushing after them thoughtlessly. The present is the only time we really have. Yesterday is gone, and tomorrow is yet to come. What matters is now. This moment you are living right now is the moment that shapes your life. When you're present, you're better able to make the right decisions because you're not distracted by thoughts of the past or worries about the future. When you live each moment with full presence, you begin to notice details that you might miss if you were distracted. You begin to see the beauty in simple things, and you gain depth in your experience of life. Marcus Aurelius invites us to be present, because if we lose touch with the present moment, we lose touch with life itself. Think of it as an exercise every day. Try to be present in everything you do. When you feel your mind wandering into the past or the future, gently bring it back to the present moment. It will be difficult at first, but over time, it will become a habit. And with that habit, you will find that your life becomes richer and more meaningful. Being present is not only about living in the present moment, it's also about controlling your thoughts and feelings. When you're present, you're better able to control your emotions. And when you're faced with a challenge, instead of being swept up in an emotional reaction, you're able to stop and think, what is the best response in this moment? How can I handle this situation in a way that reflects my value as a conscious and responsible individual? Self-discipline begins with presence, because when you are present, you are in control, you are aware of what is happening around you, and can choose the appropriate response. And it is this presence that ultimately leads you to a more disciplined, more balanced, and more profound life. Stay with us because this is just the beginning of our journey towards self-control and achieving complete discipline in our lives. And what we explore in the rest of the video will help you apply this philosophy more deeply and comprehensively in every aspect of your life. 3. Rely on yourself. Deep within every human being, there is a natural desire to look for support, for someone to carry some of our burdens. We turn to others for advice, protection, or even comfort. But what if I told you that this desire to rely on others can be a double-edged sword? It tends to weaken us, to make us dependent, to turn away from the true strength that lies within us. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, lived his life under tremendous pressure. He didn't have the luxury of relying on others to lead the Roman Empire. He knew that his true strength lay in his own self-reliance. He realized that true wisdom and knowledge comes from within, not from without. He says, do everything as if you were relying only on yourself and accept everything that happens as if it were fate. When you become the master of your own destiny, you don't have to wait for others to lend you a helping hand, because you will have the strength to stand up for yourself. Self-reliance is the beginning of everything, the spark that ignites the fire of self-discipline. But how can we achieve this? First, understand that true strength comes from within. There is a misconception that successful people are those who have all the resources and support around them, but in reality, success starts from within, from a firm belief in your ability to overcome obstacles, no matter how difficult. Don't wait for circumstances to improve or people to change. Work on yourself, develop your inner strength, and use it to propel you forward. Second, practice making decisions on your own. Making decisions may seem daunting, but it is an integral part of self-reliance. Marcus Aurelius used to say, stop looking outside to find what you need. Look inside, because everything you need is already there. Difficult decisions are what makes a strong person. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every decision is a new lesson that adds to your wisdom and strength. Finally, remember that self-reliance does not mean isolation. Self-reliance may seem to imply distancing yourself from others, but the truth is that a truly self-reliant person knows how to contribute to a strong and independent society. They know their worth. They know when to offer help and when to ask for it if it's necessary. In the end, when you are self-reliant, you are freed from the shackles of expectations, from fears of failure, and from the constant need for approval from others. You become a person who can stand firmly in the face of storms because you know that you are the real force behind your success. Remember, if you are able to rely on yourself, you have already begun the journey of building self-discipline. Follow this journey and keep watching to learn more about how to harness this power to build a life full of wisdom and balance. 4. Practice willingly enduring hardship. In a world where everyone seeks comfort and ease, hardship is a forgotten weapon. We live in a time that promotes a culture of comfort, where the pursuit of an easy life is a goal for many. But let's ask a simple question. Does true strength come from comfort? Seneca, the famous Stoic philosopher, said, "You cannot discover strength in comfort. True strength is not in indulging in luxury, but in the ability to face difficulties and endure hardship willingly." In this context, let's look at the concept of hardship as the cornerstone of building self-discipline, self-challenge, and hardship as a tool. Hardship is not just a contingency imposed on us from the outside, but a tool that you can use at will to strengthen yourself. When you make a conscious decision to take on difficult challenges, whether physical or psychological, you are actually training yourself to take control. You're teaching your mind and body to obey your commands, not the other way around. For example, consider a simple exercise: waking up early in the day despite a strong urge to sleep. This moment when you decide to get out of bed despite the warmth of the bed is a small victory over yourself, but one that opens the door to bigger victories in the future. How do you turn adversity into a habit? You don't have to throw yourself into the deep end all of a sudden. Just start gradually. It could be fasting from a certain food for a while, exercising despite fatigue, or even resisting the urge to check your phone frequently. The important thing is to start training yourself to be disciplined through small challenges, because those small difficulties will build a strong foundation that you can rely on when you face bigger challenges in life. The benefits of willingly choosing hardship. When you choose hardship willingly, you begin to notice dramatic changes in your life. You become more resilient to external pressures. You are able to face extreme circumstances with fortitude, because you have trained yourself not to be a slave to comfort, thus freeing yourself from many of the psychological constraints that weaken others. It's like training at the gym. At first, you may find the weights heavy and the hardship great, but with each time you challenge yourself, you get stronger and the weights become lighter and the hardship less. Life is like that. Its challenges may be heavy at first, but with constant training, you become stronger and more able to withstand them. At the end of the day, true strength comes from the ability to face difficulties, not run away from them. Every challenge you willingly choose is an opportunity for growth, and every hardship you willingly endure is a step towards true freedom. The freedom to control yourself, to face life with courage, and to continue on the path toward your goals. So don't be afraid of hardship. Seek it out, embrace it, and utilize it to become a stronger version of yourself. That's where true strength lies. 5. Don't play the victim. In our daily lives, we are all exposed to difficult situations and challenges that sometimes seem unfair. You may find yourself confronted with a situation or person that feels unfair, or realize that luck has not been on your side. In such moments, it can be very tempting to give up and consider ourselves victims of these circumstances. But what if I told you that being a victim is tantamount to losing the real power you have? Stoicism teaches us that power lies within us, in the way we think and react, not in the external events we experience. When we choose to see ourselves as victims, we are simply giving up control over our lives. We are giving power to those external events to determine our fate and state of mind. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, lived a challenging life, ruling an empire facing many crises from wars to plagues, but he didn't complain about the circumstances. Instead, he emphasized that it was his reactions to these circumstances that mattered, not the circumstances themselves. This is the essence of the idea. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond to what happens. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you're on your way to work and you get into a car accident due to the fault of another driver. You could spend all day complaining and being angry, feeling victimized by the accident and that the world is unfair. But how will this feeling affect you? Will it make your day better, or will it add to your frustration and stress? The Stoic chooses to look at this situation in a different way. He realizes that the accident happened and there is no changing what happened. But what he can do is choose how he will deal with the situation. He may decide to look at the incident as an opportunity to learn patience or to think about things in his life from a new perspective. He can also focus on the positive things, such as the fact that the accident wasn't worse than it was. Here we learn an important lesson. Whenever we adopt a victim mentality, we give up some of our control over our lives. But when we choose to be proactive, to take responsibility for our reactions and thoughts, we regain that control. We are freed from the constraints that circumstances may impose on us, and we are able to direct our lives in the direction we wish to go. When you face the next challenges in your life, remember this lesson. Don't let external circumstances determine your destiny. Be the doer, not the donee. Own the true power that lies within you, and don't allow anything to victimize you. This is the path of wisdom, the path of Stoicism, 6. Make deferring pleasure and desires a priority in your life. When we talk about desires, we're talking about those brief moments of gratification we feel when we get what we want right away, whether it's a piece of candy that you know isn't good for your health, or scrolling through social media instead of getting your work done. Instant gratification may seem tempting, and it may give you a momentary sense of happiness. But have you ever wondered what the real price you pay for these brief moments is? Think about it. Every time you give in to an immediate desire, you lose some of your self-control. Every time you abandon the principle of delayed gratification, you reinforce the idea that your desires are stronger than you. And therein lies the real danger, becoming a slave to your whims. The Stoics understood this very well. They didn't reject desires because they are bad in themselves, but because they knew that unconsciously indulging in them can weaken your will and restrict your freedom. Marcus Aurelius himself recognized that power comes not from satisfying desires, but from being able to control and postpone them. He believed that a virtuous life did not mean indulging in pleasure, but living in harmony with virtue and reason. Imagine that you are standing in front of a burning fire that represents your desire. The closer you get to it for momentary warmth, the more it burns. But if you stand still and control yourself, the fire will not burn you, but will illuminate your path. How do we start? It starts with awareness. Every time you feel a strong desire, take a moment and ask yourself, is this really what I need, or is it just a fleeting desire that will soon fade away? Train yourself to wait, even for a few seconds. You'll be surprised how the desire gradually begins to subside. Stoicism doesn't just invite us to postpone eating dessert or resisting scrolling through the phone. It invites us to a deeper understanding. Life is full of temptations, and quick pleasures can steal your time, your focus, and even your dreams. Pleasure deferral becomes a powerful tool, a tool that empowers you to take control of the direction of your life, rather than being controlled by your temporary desires. When you master the art of postponing pleasure, you discover that you have more focus, more patience, and a will that opens new doors toward your goals. You are no longer a slave to desires, but a master of yourself. This is the essence of self-discipline. Remember, strength lies not only in resisting desires, but in your ability to transcend them and see beyond them. When you become a master of yourself, you break free from hidden limitations and enter a realm of inner peace and true freedom. And here, your journey to true power begins. 7. Ignore the discouragers around you. On your journey towards self-discipline, you will always encounter those who try to keep you from the right path. They may be friends, colleagues, or even family members. They question your goals, ridicule your ambitions, and may even try to convince you that you're asking for the impossible. These are the discouragers, and their presence is inevitable in life. But remember, the Stoic philosopher is measured not by the applause of those around him, but by the clarity of his own vision. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to listen to our inner voice and not the noise of the outside world. When you know who you are, what you want, and when your values are clear to you, the opinions of others lose their impact on you. The real challenge is not only to ignore the discouragers, but to understand that their words often come from their weakness rather than your strength. Maybe they're afraid of what they don't understand, or feel threatened by your attempt to rise above mediocrity. Every time you encounter negative criticism or discouragement, ask yourself, is this opinion a reflection of who I really am, or is it just a projection of their fears? If you are walking a different path than others, don't expect them to applaud you. Seneca says, people often oppose what they do not understand. So don't think that their opposition means you're wrong. You may be exactly on the right track. You may be exactly on the right track. Discouragers come in many forms. Those who doubt your abilities, those who make fun of your ambitions, or those who try to push you to give up because they themselves haven't succeeded. Often they're not trying to bring you down because you're weak, but because you remind them of what they failed to achieve. So how do you get past them? Start by building true self-confidence, a confidence that comes from a deep understanding of your values and goals. Review your actions daily. Measure your real progress. When you're confident in yourself, it's much easier to ignore their opinions. And don't forget, Discouragers can be your greatest teachers. They hold up a mirror to what you might become if you give up. Utilize their presence as fuel for your determination. As Marcus Aurelius said, the obstacles are the way. Turn every criticism into an opportunity. Make every resistance a motivation. Prove to yourself every time that you are stronger than others think you are. If you have reached this point in the video, know that you are not an ordinary person. You are someone with inner strength and the determination to be better. I admire people like you, and I'd love to get to know you better. Write to me in the comments that you have reached this minute of the video and share your journey with us. And always remember, ignore everyone who tries to discourage you and focus on your goal. It's a long road, but it's worth it. Keep going. The journey isn't over yet. There's so much more to discover together. 8. Find wise people to emulate. On our journey towards realizing self-discipline, we need more than just willpower. We need guidance. We need people who have been down the same road, have faced the challenges we are going through now, and came out stronger, wiser, and more insightful. This is where the importance of the wisdom passed down from previous generations comes into play. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca realized that man cannot truly grow on his own. They studied the lives of the wise men who came before them, learning from their experiences. They saw each experience as a new lesson. In today's world, finding wise mentors may seem difficult, but the truth is that we are lucky. Wisdom is found in books, in lectures, in personal experiences, and even in the words of grandparents. Wise people are not just those we meet face to face. They can be historical figures, philosophers, writers, or even a family member who has lived with honesty and deep contemplation. But why do we need these sages? Because they are like a mirror through which we see ourselves more clearly. We benefit from their mistakes and learn from their successes. We save ourselves years of confusion and indecision. The wisdom we get from our mentors doesn't just give us knowledge. It gives us a more broader view of life and makes us more conscious in our decision-making. When you are looking for a wise person to look up to, be selective in your choice. Don't just look for someone who has fame or money. Look for someone who lives by true values, discipline, humility, and the constant pursuit of learning. Marcus Aurelius himself considered himself a perpetual student. He read, meditated, and learned from every experience. In his meditations, he wrote down the lessons of his life to show us how the words of the wise can shape our destiny. But remember, the search for wisdom is not the end, but the beginning. It's not just about learning, but to apply what we have learned in the details of our daily lives. When you find someone inspiring, absorb their lessons, and always ask yourself, how can I use this wisdom to be a better person? Having wise people in our lives not only makes us stronger, it reassures us that we are not alone on the path. We are part of a long line of human beings who have strived for greatness, and we will continue that journey with them. Now, as we complete the video, think, who are the people you can learn from? Who are those whose wisdom you can draw from and change your life? Share their names in the comments, and let's inspire each other on this journey toward discipline and wisdom. 9. Take an honest review of your day. In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, we forget a simple but essential truth. We make our days. Every word, every decision, every action. It's a thread in the fabric of our lives. But how do we know we're on the right path? How do we make sure our daily steps bring us closer to our goals and align with our values? The answer is honest daily review. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius practiced this meditation every night. He sat with himself, away from the noise of life, asking himself deep questions. Have I been wise? Have I acted honorably? Have I lived up to my values? The daily review is not just a retrospective, but an internal mirror in which we see our intentions, attitudes, and reactions. Ask yourself, have I been honest with myself and others? Did I face today's situations with maturity, or was I led by my emotions? Did I learn something new? Did I let myself down? Some answers may be painful, but they are necessary. This moment of honesty helps you uncover negative patterns before they become habits. It helps you to learn, to grow consciously, and to appreciate the small accomplishments that we often overlook. How do you do a review? Sit in a quiet place at the end of your day. Review the events of your day from start to finish. Write down what you felt was good and what you could have done better. Be honest, but don't be harsh. The goal is not self-flagellation, but self-understanding. Remember, the daily review is not a burden. It's a gift to yourself. It is the compass that gets you back on track, a moment of calm that gives you the strength to start tomorrow better.